It looks like
Okay.
we have Arkansas connection up. Let's see. Okay. Boom. Arkansas connection. What is going on?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good. So your topic is current
Okay.
events.
Yes. Real quick before I hit on that topic, if you can use Google or whatever. If you can search 10 ways the government watches you. It was published by NBC News back in 2011. Um, some people need to kind of read that. um, Believe it or not, it tells you what the government did. I mean, everybody already knows. And I want to thank DJ, and Shauna. We had a really good show tonight, and Rob and Relevant Truth. Anyway, I'm going to explain to you from my standpoint while you're doing that. The empty city that you talked about not long ago, the training we do in emergency response, some of those cities are called disaster cities. They are vacant communities where certain entities of government officials, emergency responders, firefighters, we all go out there and we test techniques, plans, and etc. But that also kind of goes into consolation about what the government's hiding from us. Now, I'm not going to touch on that. I'll call another night. um, anyway, I talked to a buddy of mine who is in SF. He requested a favor from me for an application purpose. I'm not going to get into that. Luckily, Rick Thompson kind of helped me out, explained it to me a little bit more. So shout out to him. The drills that's been going on, I asked him about them. And I said, why do you need higher security clearance? Oh, man, I'm just going for promotion. Well, believe it or not, I asked him about what was going on in California. He said, oh, man, I know as much as you do, and that's all I'm going to say. Well, we have a lingo we used when we were kids. And when he told me about what they were going to come and ask me about him, he kind of pointed something out to me and I didn't notice it. But what's going on in Venezuela is actually more players involved. So the directed energy weapons that everybody claims that we have, or we do have proof, whatever, there is the powers that be control what comes in our atmosphere and what leaves it. Whether people believe it or not, whether they do, that's cool. Just like the videos you showed, of the look like, I want to say meteor turning 180 degrees. That was actually a guided missile. That one was. That was supposedly anyway. The other half is the trash in it, what contained in that meteor, was directed by one of our entities to designate and rotate and just go away because of the metal in it. Now, from my understanding, what came through the wire, I was notified probably about 5 days ago, 6 days ago. I was getting dispatched to close to Venezuela for a medical standby. It was after they pulled out the U.S. folks down there. I can't remember their names. Was it Diplomat, I guess? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when that happened, they put us on standby, and I resigned my contract, my position, because I'm not ready for another Benghazi situation. But that was kind of targeted. That was supposed to happen. Whether people believe it or not, that's fine. But from the chatter I'm getting from people out in the state that I know within certain agencies, they're not supposed to tell me. They just kind of messed up and did because they care. Our next conflict, they are trying to prevent. It will be this year. They've been training for it. The disaster cities, they've been getting people prepped. And it's always at least 6 to 10 months beforehand.
And they don't know
Well,
they don't know exactly where it's coming from, and that's one of the reasons they're doing all these
right,
drills with the biological stuff.
right. So I've seen the inside of certain CDC facilities. I've trained with FEMA and those guys. But the gentleman I was talking about, he kept saying something about China. They want to make sure I don't sell anything to China. And I said, why is China all of a sudden involved? And he said, whoa, oh man, I can't go there. Well, then I started digging deeper. China and Russia, they're in bed together, supposedly. There's no real truth to it. They are distracting us from China. Russia, everybody's distracting us from it. They're putting all the focus on Venezuela for a reason. But why is that? Everybody thinks it's oil or whatever be the fact. What people don't know is they've already diverted, I do know, several economy collapses, but just in the past 18 months here. Excuse me, my voice is going out too, so forgive me.
No worries.
But I wanted people to be aware that they really need to look in that website because it talks about Operation, Carnivore, about what the government watches. Anyway, so back to that segment, I'm going to tie all them together. If you've ever been to a doctor, been anywhere to buy anything, as a kid, growing up, vaccines, doesn't matter, you are listed in a database. Oh, well, why would you put millions of people in a database? Anything you've ever done, bought, sold, logged into, signed on, it doesn't matter. You are categorized by number, social security number. It's all, I've seen the print. I'm going to send you the documents too. So the thing is, they're trying to target which area they can take first. Now, I don't know who they are. I don't know if it's our government. I don't know if it's somebody else. Just like the California fire. I got some friends out there on the Cal fire, and that was a cluster. There was too many people wanting to be the boss, and it was ruined. Too many people arguing. But they figured out they had one area concentrated, and that's how. I'm not going to go on that just yet. Anyway, any questions that you might have for me right this moment? Because I'm trying not to go over time, but...
Well, we already did that. One thing I would like to do is... So were you... did you end up going on Shauna's show earlier? Were you...
Yes.
I guess, so the one thing that you said that got to me is that you said that they know it's coming and then... but they just don't know the direction. So that's exactly what I've heard. So basically, they don't know where exactly the first strike is going to be. And they don't know how to, they actually don't even know how to adjust the funds. So some states aren't getting any funds. And then the thing is they have inside people. So they might actually put it and not, they'll start a strike towards a place that's completely unprepared for it because they know where they're spending the money. So they're doing training in certain cities, and then the other cities are not trained at all. The local police, nobody knows how to deal with the stuff, and they're putting all this other money into preparing. Yeah. So
right.
That's
so
actually a concern for FEMA.
Is true. Yes, that is true. They can redirect anything they want, and I have personally seen a demonstration of that. I might try to find the video of the class I took, and it was really out of this world. And that was back in 2008, 2009. That was just when it was getting started. Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Well, I think a lot of things are lining up for the plan that's been set in place, and
yes,
and really
February, March. I'm told. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead about March. So March is the big month that everybody's talking about.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So I was told. I can't remember when I posted it on your show or texted you, but I've been hearing since December February, March would be an event. Nobody knows the event. Nobody knows how much coverage the event will have. Something will take place, and it won't kickstart it, but it will proceed to the kickstart of whatever is coming. That's all I know. I wish I had more proof on hand so I could say it.
If you go back to December, I think the beginning of December, I said March is going to be this. Oh no, maybe it was actually the beginning of January where I said in March something.
Okay.
That's the chatter that there's actual memos going out saying be prepared for this.
Yes.
Right. The thing is our governmental agencies they catch little things, and then they can send out little warnings to the local offices, but they don't know exactly what's going to happen. So they'll send out a warning saying, "Hey, there's a lot of this same month popping up in their messages." That's what chatter is. They're basically intercepting.
I have a memo that I'm going to try to send you. Because we received one.
If it's the same memo that I would love to see what you have, because these memos, when they go through, they intercept all of this stuff. Say the FBI or NSA intercepts this stuff. If they feel prudent, they then trickle it down through memos through local and state authorities. Then local and state authorities go, okay, what do we need to do? We need to prepare for this. This is exactly what I was talking about, how they know they have people telling them, hey, they're going to try to do this then. But that doesn't mean they can stop it, but they can prepare to minimize the damage. And that's what they're preparing for in March.
Right, and the gentleman I know, he's actually, man, I'm not trying to put him on blast. Excuse me, but they call him a spook or a ghost. I've known him for a long time. He goes out and he calls it propaganda work. He investigates and then comes back to his unit. So him and several other people on this team, they go out to different countries all together, some separate. They gather information, spy, I guess you would say. They come back, they tell them what they find. This is what the chatter is on overseas, across the sandbox, the water, however you want to put it. And that's where we get majority of our information from. Everybody knows that, or some form or fashion. What they trickle down to each agency, including me, is exactly what you said. This is the predetermined time. This is the time frame. You need to do this to get ready. We even have new plans in place in several areas about what happens if an event takes place in a certain part of the country. Believe it or not, most people see it on the news when a major disaster happens. Oh, you've got emergency responders from this state, that state, this state. Well, there's a reason why. It's because they were notified ahead of time. They had time to prepare.
Exactly.
Regardless of who it is, I'm going to tell you right now, in one of my classes, a FEMA employee, along with 3 other employees from different agencies, said, and I quote, "We will not be there until after 72 to 84 hours. You're on your own. Get it together. It's on you. When we come in, we can go from there." It says it on their websites, I believe, but just little things like that. You have to dissect what's truth and what's not, kind of go through it. I will say this. The best thing anybody can do is have some type of plan in place for what they need to do. I'm dead serious. And what we're seeing all unfold.
I try to tell people that every single show, and having 4 calculated routes to get to where you're going.
Amen. I've watched you for a long time, so
I say that
just now got
all the time, and it's real.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's when you started, I really kind of picked up on it, stuck with you, and I said, you know what, his information is valid. Majority of the calls have some type of valid information, same stuff that I know that I didn't think anybody else knew, or my area. So that tells me that there's some validation behind it, because who I know.
That's a perfect time to say, as far as not all calls are valid, but That's because they're just
Well, some.
anybody can call in. But some of the calls we've
Right.
gotten in have been months ahead on information. We actually met the two Venezuelans that told us a week early that
Yep.
that Guaido was going to be that the military was going to turn on Maduro and then all of a sudden support Guaido. We had that a week before
Actually,
mainstream. That was crazy.
I
That's
actually
from
found
a
that
caller.
out from my buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, but we did go twice over time. I've got to get
Yes, I'm
everybody
sorry.
else in here, but no. So again, Arkansas Connection does have. He knows his stuff, so I always appreciate your calls, and you're always welcome on any of our shows.
Sure thing, brother. I'll be in contact with you as much as I can.
I would like to talk to you about some of this. Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about some of the stuff you said off air. So if you could,
Okay, sure.
I want to talk to you. I'll get your number and I'll give you a call. Okay.
Okay, bud.
All right. Thank you and have a good night. Be safe.
Y'all too. Take care.
Okay. So, man. Up next we have Mark.